Hello lads and lasses, welcome to another video on the channel. Today is going to be predicting the World Darts Masters for 2025. This is due to take place towards the end of the month. This is being recorded a couple of days before the draw is made for the prelims. So all we're going to be covering today is the field of players that could potentially be taking part. Obviously we know that the top 24 PDC representatives have a bye through to, I believe it's the last 32. Everyone else is pretty much going to go into a group stage in the prelims, then into a knockout, and then into where the seeds are. Okay, now the schedule, as I said, has not been released, so all we're going to be covering today is going to be who we know is taking part. We're going to look at who I think will win the tournament, who my potential dark horses are, and I'm going to aim to pick at least one from each area of the draw. And also, we're just going to be looking at general oddities and statistics, such as most 180s, okay? So we'll start off today by looking at the potential names that are in the bracket. Obviously, we all know the top 24 PDC representatives. Now, I don't know them off by heart, but we're going to look at some notable names. And for the purposes of the video, actually, the two articles that I'm using are both available on pdc.tv. And this is the writers, so feel free to go and read their articles and give them a little bit of credit, a little bit more traction. Josh Gorton wrote the first one, which is the 25 Win Mau World Masters draw confirmed. And the second one that I'm going to be using has all the names included. This was written by Dave Allen, not the comedian who used to do About Telling the Time, even though he was excellent. This guy is still alive for a start, but also just a writer for the PDC. I have nothing else to go on in regards to him. But what we do know is that he published this article. Entries confirmed for the 2025 Win Mau World Masters prelim rounds. So we're going to start off with his article, and we're going to look at the players, rather not the teams, that are exempt till the last 64 of the tournament. Some notable names in here include Daryl Gurney, Dirk van Dijvenbode, Richie Edhouse, Luke Woodhouse, Brendan Dolan, Cameron Menzies, Kim Hybrex, Florian Hempel, and Matt Campbell. Now we're going to go for the the seeded players for the group stage. Now how this tournament works is you'll have a group stage which is unseeded players and you have seeded players. Seeded players are basically representatives of the PDC from number 57 in the world to number 88. Then you have obviously the exemptions for the last 64, which are tour card holders from, I believe it's 25 all the way up to around 56. So that's basically how this works. Also, for your information, the winner of this tournament is subject to prize money amounting upwards of 100 grand. The runner-up, I believe, is half of that. It's 50 grand. So, a decent prize pool for any budding darts players out there who, in the next couple of years, might qualify through qualification school, Q school, and come into tournaments like this where there are a lot of unseeded talent that you think could be in there. For the youngsters as well, there are 4 JDC representatives. I believe these are just the young players. It's the Junior Darts Circuit or the Junior Darts Corporation. And all this focuses on is bringing people like Luke Littler when he was on the JDC. You had Thomas Banks as well come up through the JDC. Excellent players in their own rights, but that's basically what that is. We've also got a couple of women on the tour as well. Fallon Sherrick is a notable name of the qualifiers that are unseeded, as are Lisa Ashton, Mikuru Suzuki, Lorraine Winstanley, and Robin Byrne. Those are the 5 ladies in this tournament. So, let's have a look at the seeded entries now. Now, we've got a lot of notable names in here. Robert Owen, who did famously well at the World Championships, beating out Gabriel Clemens, was probably the biggest scalping that he did. And I also believe he edged out Callan Rids in this tournament, which was frankly incredible given how he had been playing. Other notable names are Stephen Burton, who of course has had a couple of qualifications for the World Championships before. I believe he got to this one, and I think 3 years ago he qualified. Also, obviously, Ryan Mikkel. You've got Mensa Sulevic in there. We all know who Sulevic is. We all know what he's about. Chris Landman, who, to be honest, I didn't even remember he still had a tour card. He's done nothing this year. Mario van Bogarde. Van den Bogarde, there you go. Got the right pronunciation in the end. That's a fucking hard name to pronounce, why did I pick him? But he's a notable name in there. Andy Baitens, Barry Van Peer, Dan Darren Beveridge, George Killington, who everyone hates, Martijn Drags, and local boy Adam Hunt is going to be some of the seeded names. Not all of them, obviously, but those are the most notable ones in my opinion. The unseeded ones that are notable, but they're additional group stage entries, are William Borland, Michel Torretta, the Italian, Wesley Plaisier, Christian Kist, Tom Bissell, Kai Goddard, who did well at the World Championships as well, Bradley Brooks, who's been averaging, I think, over 106 in Q School throughout the whole tournament. Unbelievable. Karel Sedlacek, one of my personal favourite players, is an unseeded entry. Daryl Pilgrim as well, famously has been in and around tournaments before. I think that was him anyway. Might have got the wrong Pilgrim. Funny name here, but Jeremy Fagg. But I'll put my immaturities aside for a moment. There were a couple of Asian qualifiers as well. Azumoto, who qualified for this World Championships. You have Tomoya Goto as well, who is an incredibly good player, and Muramatsu as well. I think that's pretty much everyone. The only other notable name in there is Jimmy Van Shee. Now, for those of you who do not know, get to know. He's an incredible player. He's been on the Modus for a couple of years now. Incredible darts player, and someone who I might tip to be my dark horse from this section of the draw. So with that in mind, let's get on with that side of things, okay? We'll look at who I think could go far in each stage. Now, it's important to mention that I believe it's one person qualifies per group. Obviously, it cuts down the tournament massively. You go through an extra round, then you get the round of 64, where the likes of Daryl Gurney and Brendan Dolan come in. So, from this section, I am going to put Jimmy Van Shee down there to do well in this tournament. I think he's more than capable. Obviously, he plays in front of the Modus, which is like 600, 700 fans, instead of multiple thousands. But I don't believe that he has the nerves that come with a bigger venue. I believe he's more than competent. And to be fair, based on my previous predictions, he could actually be a very good one. Obviously, for those who don't know what I'm referring to there, I predicted Chris Dobie to win the Dutch Masters. He went out in round 1 to Raymond van Barneveld, who interestingly is not competing in this tournament due to illness. There's another couple of players who I think are really interesting. Max Hopp of this particular section is a really dangerous opponent. Having already won multiple things before, was the first German to win a tournament on the PDC circuit. He is always a dangerous player. He's had his battles with arthritis. He's back on the tour now. And he could be an extremely dangerous competition given what he's achieved in the past. Likewise, Torretta and Plaisier also could be very dangerous draws from this pick, but those are not players that I expect to do particularly well and get really far. Jimmy Van Shee and Max Hopp could be the two dark horses that I'm going to put forward for this section. We'll move off into the seeded stage now, where Robert Owen is obviously in conversation, having done so well at the Worlds. I believe he's in a serious conversation now to get into the top 32 and maybe even be sort of consolidated in that section. I do believe he's currently sitting outside of that. I might be wrong on whereabouts he's sitting, but I know he's sitting within about the top 40. Likewise, Thibaut Tricot, always a good, competent darts player. Really kicked on in the last couple of years with France. Obviously, playing the World Cup's done a massive amount of help to him, but I feel like he's more than good enough in his own right to do well. I also really like Barry Van Peers, so I'm going to put him forward, even though, to be fair, his ability isn't exactly the same as everyone else's. I just feel like I just like the bloke. Obviously, he's had his major struggles with arthritis, and he's back on the tour, and he's better than ever, so good luck to him is my sort of a personal shout. Like, I really do appreciate what he's been through, and I hope that someday he starts to win tournaments again. As for the players that are exempt up until the last 64, we're going to look at Daryl Gurney, obviously always very dangerous, played quite well at certain tournaments throughout the year, has got far in a couple of them as well. Van Veen's always a decent shout to do well. Obviously, he's still very young, still very energetic, power scoring of an absolute dream. Dublin can sometimes be a little bit inconsistent, but for me, he's one of the most well-rounded players in this section of the draw. Likewise, I always like Ratajski, but I don't feel like he's going to do well this tournament. And I'm going to put forward Wessel Nijman again. I just feel like his performances from months ago leading up to this point I mean, against Cameron Carrollison in the Worlds, he struggled, but he got through the result. And he's sort of starting to have to learn how to grind out results. So I'm going to put him forward to do a little bit of a better run than what most people are anticipating he will be. So, who do I think is going to actually win the tournament? This is the moment you've all been waiting for. And my name to put forward here is going to be... I mean, look, we already know who Humphries is going to play. If I refer to the other, article now by Josh, we're looking at Luke Humphries playing Joe Cullen in that first fixture that he goes into. That's a bloody hard game to predict. I think Cullen actually might win that. That will be my tip-off for this round, if I had to predict one game. I'm looking at all the seeded players now, and obviously their potential draws. And I think... what do I think? I'm going to say Damon Heta will do well from this section. But my winner is going to be Joe Cullen. You know? I mean, my picks for winners have always been shit, and he's probably going to lose to Humphries first round. Humphries is by no means a pushover. He's world number 1 for crying out loud. But if Cullen gets off to a good start and wins this game, I don't see where his next loss is coming from. I really don't. Especially with the likelihood of some of them qualifiers getting wins. Obviously, we know there are 8 players in this tournament that are in the top 32 that obviously don't automatically qualify, and they are going to be by far the most dangerous players. But we're looking at what we know right now. I'm going to put Joe Cullen forward. As for most 180s, it's going to be Gary Anderson. I believe he's due a deep run, but I don't think he'll get anywhere near the final. And again, I think he's playing Dimmy, so that's going to be a very hard game. But in my opinion, he has enough fibre to get through that. What else? I think highest average will come probably in the latter stages of the tournament, probably by someone like Luke Littler, who's always liable to hit stupid amounts of 180s, 140s, and be one of the most consistently high scorers and high double percentages in the entire PDC. I don't think there's much else really to cover, to be honest. I think, obviously, highest average, most 180s, and the winner were the most important things. I've given my dark horses for each section of the draw. And yeah, that is my predictions done for the World Masters. Now, I might do a follow-up to this when the draw is actually announced. But as of right now, I'm just going to predict what I think will happen roughly. In the same way I do my Premier League stuff. I don't really go into obscene amount of detail. So that is what we're going to stick with for now. Thank you very much for watching the video, and if you did enjoy, liking and subscribing is always appreciated. And until my next one, I'll see you later, and bye bye for now.